For many people, it is not enough to watch a video or read a book to immediately change their lifestyle. Stoicism is first and foremost a philosophy of action. According to Epictetus, one of the founders of Stoicism, wisdom is gained partly through study and partly through practice. In his reasoning, he advises to first study and then practice the knowledge gained so that it becomes habitual. Right habits will lead to right actions. Marcus Aurelius also emphasized the need to replace old habits with new ones. Instead of contemplating what a good person should be, just become one. Learning requires constant practice. This applies to all aspects of human life and is especially evident in sports, where an athlete, in order to get results, trains daily, for hours time after time, pumping up his technique with countless repetitions. This number of repetitions ultimately leads to results. Repetition of the same thing leads to a qualitative leap. These laws work exactly the same way in ordinary life. You need to constantly practice and implement these principles in your life. Developing this theme, focusing on what is important, becomes a key ability. Mindfulness, as defined by modern psychologists, is the continuous tracking of current experience, focusing on the present moment without the interference of thoughts about the past and future. This is not just a current issue, but a challenge in today's world where we are constantly distracted by modern electronic gadgets and streams of information. The Stoics taught that developing attention requires constant practice, controlling the mind and preventing loss of concentration. In a world overloaded with information, loss of attention can lead to poor decisions, forgetfulness, and even dangerous situations. Stoicism asserts the division of all phenomena into external and internal. We cannot change the external world, but we can control our attitude toward it. We can choose to react to unforeseen situations, which makes Stoicism not only a philosophy, but also a practical guide to living a more conscious and effective life. For example, in the science fiction writer Aldous Huxley's work, The Island, birds on a special island keep repeating, "Realize the here and now." Aldous Huxley was an internationally recognized intellectual of his time, nominated 7 times for the Nobel Prize, a man who could see the future. And believe me, he knew what he was writing about. Attention, or the ability to focus on the present moment, was considered one of the most important aspects of Stoicism. Modern psychologists call this ability mindfulness, defining it as the continuous tracking of current experiences. It is a state where we focus on experiencing the present moment to the exclusion of thoughts of the past and future. Eckhart Tolle, author of the best-selling book The Power of the Present, argued that our false ego dissolves when we are fully present in the here and now. Epictetus warned against inattention, noting that losing focus makes things worse. This problem is becoming more of an issue every year, especially with the advent of messengers, social media, television chatter, and constant notifications on our phones. Addiction to gadgets and a constant thirst for new information is linked to the neurotransmitter dopamine. It highlights the dangers of inattention, leading to forgetfulness and reduced productivity. As far back as 2,000 years ago, people suffered from loss of concentration, even without modern distractions, let alone in the present. Examples from everyday life, such as forgotten irons and unlocked apartments due to inattention, emphasize the low sustainability of attention. Poor attention directly affects the quality of life, as William James said. The Stoics encourage practicing mindfulness by monitoring one's thoughts and emotions. Epictetus compares this to being careful when walking barefoot to avoid stepping on something sharp or unpleasant. We can't control everything, but by controlling our attention, by controlling our actions and reactions, We can make good choices and live consciously. We can't affect the fact that someone has already broken a bottle and scattered glass on the road. But we can use our attention to avoid stepping on the glass and hurting our feet. In this way, we can avoid the problem of foot injury and subsequent negative events. We can remove the glass so that someone else less attentive doesn't cut themselves, or we can simply scold the person who did it and move on. In this example, the stimulus for our reaction is the broken glass in the road, but how we react is under our control. The choice is yours as to how to react. Sucht. Austrian scientist and psychologist Viktor Frankl said that there is a gap between stimulus and reaction, and in that gap we have the freedom to choose how to react. Our happiness and our development depend on this choice. The size of this gap is directly related to the quality of our attention. The philosopher Epictetus also distinguished two stages of reaction, where the first involves involuntary emotional reflexes, which are very similar to animal reactions. They are similar to animal reactions. The reasons of these reactions are not due to faulty but emotional reflexes that affect our bodies and cloud our minds. Behind the first impression is our consciousness. The second stage of reaction is when we add our judgment to these initial spontaneous impressions, and at this stage the reaction of a Stoic will be very different from that of most people. The Stoic is not overcome by anger or panic. He doesn't get in a fight. He's practicing his attention. He learns to disengage from spontaneous, disturbing thoughts and feelings, stopping the spontaneous flow of emotions by turning on conscious control. Stoics teach that by practicing attention, we can disconnect from primal spontaneous emotional reactions. This is similar to the cognitive distancing technique in cognitive behavioral therapy, where we consciously separate our thoughts from external reality. A person immersed in thoughts about the past or future narrows the gap between stimulus and response, automatically succumbing to monkey systemic reactions. Stoics are trained to see this gap, to be mindful, and to consciously choose how to respond to stimuli. Stoics train mindfulness by allowing the flow of thought to stop, take a deep breath, and consciously accept or not accept the response offered by the monkey system. Her diary is a great tool for self-reflection and self-improvement. Keeping a diary regularly helps you become aware of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. It is also a way to track your progress and set new goals. One form of realizing the Stoic exercise would be to keep a diary. Keeping a diary, whether on a computer or in a paper notebook, helps you to consciously recall past events and honestly evaluate your feelings and reactions. Time spent on social media should also be structured. Plan your vacations to include more active activities. Don't forget about reading. It's a great way to develop mindfulness. Vacations without studying are a waste of time. Take a day off from work, but not from studying. Meditation is a kind of attention trainer which teaches you to concentrate on the main thing and not to let go of unnecessary thoughts. Morning rituals and focusing on the most important tasks right after they are done is an effective strategy for increasing productivity. This allows you to use the peak of your mind's activity after waking up to accomplish the most important tasks. This allows you to use the peak of your mind's activity after waking up to accomplish the most important tasks. Managing notifications on your phone is another helpful tip. Limiting access to social media and other distracting apps will help you focus on more important things. Remind yourself of the importance of active relaxation. Conscious and active relaxation can be more satisfying than simple inactivity. It's also a way to maintain a balance between work and rest. Following these principles and keeping a diary will help you understand yourself better, use your time more effectively, and gradually achieve better results in different areas of your life. When we are immersed in an active activity that requires focus, we are likely to experience a pleasant state of entrainment. This is supported by research that shows that immersion in a task can be satisfying and joyful. To structure your free time, it's important to plan vacations and incorporate more active pursuits into your schedule. Books can also be a great way to develop attention and concentration, and reading regularly can help improve these skills. Meditation is a kind of attention trainer that helps you learn to focus on the present moment. It can be a useful tool for maintaining mental health and emotional balance. It is also important to learn how to detach from emotions in situations where they begin to overwhelm us. Reflection and mindfulness can help us re-evaluate the situation and avoid unnecessary emotional stress. Attention shapes the way we live our lives. Perceptions of the same events can vary greatly from person to person, which emphasizes the importance of mindfulness and understanding different perspectives. We need to recognize the importance that it is not the events themselves that shape our picture of the world, but our attention and focus on certain aspects of life. As you point out, we need to be active participants in using our attention to prevent negative thoughts or situations from tainting our perception and our being in this world. Modern psychological concepts propose a model of the psyche consisting of two systems of thinking: a first system that works automatically and reactively, and a second system responsible for attention and conscious mental effort. By being attentive and focused on the present moment, we can see discontinuities and make conscious choices when responding to life events. Proactivity, as Stephen Covey points out, is the ability to make conscious choices in response to events, as opposed to the reactivity characteristic of animals. This ability to make good choices in response to situations is the foundation of our success. For example, a reactive mother will constantly yell at her child, submitting to impulses and irritation. A proactive mother may also feel irritated and tired, but she realizes that there are pauses between stimulus and response during which she can make the right decision. For example, she can notice what triggers a child's tantrum and learn how to prevent it or develop the right behavior to get the child to calm down more quickly. It is important to realize that we cannot control the actions of people who annoy us, but we can decide how to respond to those actions. As Epictetus said, we must use the human gift of being able to make informed choices. The feeling we wake up with in the morning when the mind is fresh can be protected from outside influences. My cardinal rule is not to talk on the phone immediately upon waking. Instead, I head out for a workout or a walk. It's important not to think about future tasks, but to focus solely on the present moment. For starters, to avoid distractions, or rather to reduce the number of triggers around us, try reducing the amount of time you spend with gadgets. Try not to take your cell phone with you and use it where you can do without it. To avoid distractions and better organize your thoughts and desires, it is useful to start a diary and make notes in it. Analyze the past day, your feelings and thoughts. Everything that happens to us, people who surround us, all this forms our present and our outlook. If you want to change something, then first of all, you need to lay everything out. You can make a table in your diary with columns for positive and negative qualities, people's strengths and weaknesses, character traits or events. Then you need to think about how it can be changed, how you can solve the problem. Rather than allowing the monkey inside of us to dominate our thoughts and emotions, it is important to focus on the positive and constructive aspects of life. This can include planning and structuring your time, engaging in activities that require focus, and paying attention to the positive aspects of daily life. Maximizing your time, consciously living in the moment, and avoiding negativity can all help you focus on the most important things in your life. And this is an opportunity to live a full life and constant development and progress in both material and spiritual, intellectual plans. Here we finish. We wish you success in your development. If you found it interesting and liked it, give us a like, subscribe not to miss the next